Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us at Liminal for this yet another exciting episode of All About Blockchain, wherein we discuss everything under the roof of this dynamic world of Web3. I am Akanksha Sharma. I am Manager PR and Events at Liminal. And today we are going to talk about a very interesting yet a very serious topic that needs a lot of attention. How crypto exchanges are applying compliance frameworks to protect consumers. But before we move on to this topic, I would like to take a small minute to thank our followers. And if you're watching this channel for the very first time, please don't forget to click on the red subscribe button down below. In our previous episodes, we discussed about Web3, automation, multi-chain. But for this very particular episodes, we are going to touch upon how crypto exchanges are applying compliance frameworks to protect consumers. For this, we have two very special guests with us. I would like to introduce our first guest, that is Soheil. Hi, Soheil. Soheil is the head of partnerships at xt.com, and xt.com is the first socially infused exchange in the world. Our second guest for today is Payaswani Shukla, manager compliance and accounts of UniFarm. UniFarm is an innovative farming solution that brings together top projects to create a reward pool. Now, I would like to welcome our host for today, Samyak Kothari. He is the manager strategy and operations at Liminal. Hi, Samyak, over to you.
Hey guys, nice to meet you all of you. Hi Soheil, hi Payaswani. I hope you guys are doing well.
Guys,
Great.
thanks
So
for having
without
me.
absolutely,
Hi,
it's an
thanks for
honor,
having me.
and we've had webinars before, and we've had some esteemed guests. So really excited to have this conversation with you guys. Cool. So moving on to without wasting more time, just wanting to introduce you guys with how your journey has been in the crypto industries since the beginning. So probably maybe I'll start with Paswani and then Soel can take the same question.
Sure. First of all, thank you very much for having me, and it's amazing to be a part of this webinar. In addition to that, I'm already a user of Liminal, so yeah, kudos to you guys for your amazing services. Yeah, moving on. Well, this space has been like it's been there in the place for a very long time, but I came across it only a few years back. Since I am from the compliance background, I happened to get into a touch with a crypto exchange. I started off as a compliance person for that crypto exchange, and eventually I went on and worked around compliance requirements, the licensing requirements that a crypto exchange has to offer, and the other things. And eventually, that is how I was totally, I mean, tapped into this entire ecosystem, looking out for audits, how an exchange works, the entire book. I mean, that's the entire story. Compliance listing all around the world. Yeah, so that's my journey. And currently, I am at UniFarm, this amazing staking platform, getting an experience, getting to know about a lot around the world. So this is something you can't really stay in a single country, right? You have to be wandering around the knowledge of all the countries that they have to offer, all the regulations, compliances, and stuff. So yeah, that's how I started off, and that's how I am loving being in it.
Interesting. Soel, what about your journey? How have it been since the beginning?
So, first of all, I'd just like to thank you very much for this opportunity, and obviously Akshana for the lovely introduction and my esteemed panel guest. So, yes, myself, I've been in blockchain. I actually was introduced to Bitcoin while I was in Canada, and actually, Bitcoin was kind of synonymous to it started off with a very brief introduction, and people were using it more for payment gateways. And I don't know if you remember the first few exchanges, MTGOX, BitcoinMarket.com. This is where I actually purchased Bitcoin, and the way you used to purchase Bitcoin used to be a very, very challenging quest. We could say that, and actually exchanges coming into the foray really helped the initial growth of Bitcoin, and especially when it reached parity with dollar. So within Web3, I've been actually assisting projects in multiple levels, in multiple dimensions. And within Dubai, I've been a very prominent advocate within the Dubai crypto community for the past 3 to 4 years, ever since crypto has had a very, very strong influence and a very good community in Dubai. And yeah, that brings it all back together. And now I'm actually currently serving as head of partnerships at XT.com. And one of the very, very important facets of that is having crypto regulated in a safe and secure way to make sure that every user is looked at and compliance is a very important thing that has to be adhered to. Obviously, we've seen the recent news about mixers, and that there's a lot of different aspects which exchanges have to look at in terms of how they can actually safely onboard new users. So I'm very excited to actually dive into this a little bit more, and I'm very pleased to be here.
Absolutely. So I think this environment is so dynamic and it changes every day, right? So obviously we need to keep up with the regulations, the compliances, and what's happening in the space, so that at least with the government or with the authorities, we are a crypto compliant organization. So since you have been in this space, both of you, since a very long time, what's your opinion on it? How fast we need to keep up with this environment so that to make sure that we are at the end of the day crypto compliant? Probably Soheil, you can take up this first.
Yeah, so sure. Obviously, you can see that as of now in Dubai, crypto has been, I'd say, more openly kind of integrated within the community and the events. Actually, we just had GITEX here, and the biggest section, there was around 100,000 exhibitors coming there. So, and we're seeing a huge flow of events and shows. So the more that happens, the more you also have to keep the safety of the users at a very, very at the forefront, because with a lot of companies coming, we were speaking to various VCs. A lot of the protection has to be there. VCs also need protection the same way that users do, and part of that is having strong regulation that there's accountability at the end of the road. And I think that's one aspect. And another aspect is the fact that when you're looking at taking on new users, that Bitcoin is transferred in a legal way and from legal sources. So always the regulators always need to have these two focuses of KYC compliance, and also for projects, making sure that they're held accountable in a legal way. And I think as we're proceeding, crypto has always been a wild, wild west. Like I've just explained, 10 years ago there wasn't even such a thing as an exchange. So now we're seeing more and more exchanges that obviously have developed, and compliance is taking more and more of an important aspect there in terms of which exchanges are actually going and leading the way. And at XT.com, we're actually pioneering that as we speak, and we're actually scaling up both our KYC and our compliance. So it's very, very important for mass adoption to really take this on board in ensuring the safety and the quality of cryptocurrencies. And
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think 3 points which you said was KYC, compliance, and accountability, which are at the forefront of any compliance industry or anywhere where you go, have to work around with the regulatory authorities. And at Liminal also, we take that as our base. And for us, it's a compliant company first, a security company first, then like a digital asset wallet infrastructure or wallet operations company. So be it compliance using external vendors or internally compliance with the CCSS regulations, I think we comply it in the in the most pinnacle way possible for us. So yeah, I agree with you, Soel. What about you, Paswani? What do you think of the entire ecosystem and the changing environment?
Yeah, well, this is a very fast growing ecosystem. A lot of regulations are happening all around the world. In fact, currently India also is facing a lot of regulation related information, and it's high time. As Sohail mentioned, Dubai is very much upfront with all their regulations. There are other countries like the US with the SEC, Singapore with the MAS. They are talking a lot about the regulations. They are bringing in licensing requirements. They are some or the other way accepting crypto payments into their ecosystem, making it legit, making it something that can be secure and more acceptable with the normal people. If I talk about India, we have, although not considered it a legal tender, we have still thought of bringing in some regulation around it, some taxation around it. Uh, as you must have heard in the last finance bill of 2022, something has been is in the process. But yeah, moving ahead, as a countrymen of India, I would be of the opinion that we have to be a bit more fast, I'd say, and seeing the adaptability that's happening all around the world. A lot of brain is moving abroad, right? A lot of money, a lot of job opportunities which could have stayed in India is moving abroad. So yeah, we have to be street smart. We have to be picking up really smartly and fastly, so that a lot of regulations could be built around it, and we so that we do not really are like left behind and are able to tap this opportunity. So yeah, that's my take here.
Agreed. So, especially in India, where there is still some clarity to be given by the regulators in terms of how we can adopt this entire ecosystem. I think there has to be a little more speed up because a lot of countries have taken this really fast and are promoting and are encouraging getting into the Web3 ecosystem. So I think that's something where we also need to kind of fasten our seatbelts and see what's going to happen in the future, right? So since you mentioned about India and you have worked with exchanges in Estonia as well, Paswani. So currently working associated with a crypto investment platform, in the past handling licensing for an exchanges in Estonia, experiencing both the sides. Sure.
Yes.
So I was saying that you have been associated with an investment platform, then in the past helped the crypto licensing for cryptocurrencies and cryptocurrency exchanges in Estonia. So after experiencing both the sides, how do you think that these current crypto exchanges are getting regulated in different markets in a different way, like in terms of adoption, in terms of adapting to the environment, the entire Web3 environment, and so on.
Yeah. So as I said, due to globalization, interdependence between economies has increased, and we have to be like tapping this opportunity at the earliest. We've got different countries like Dubai, US, Singapore, Japan, South Korea. They are all bringing in a set of cryptocurrency regulations. Talking about India as well, we have got a whole framework. In fact, some of the other countries are trying to, like, if I talk about India particularly, we are currently working, the RBI is currently bringing an e-mandate, or let's say a concept note on e-rupee, to create an awareness around digital currency. Although, yeah, it is sidelining private cryptocurrencies a bit, but still we are moving ahead in some or the other way. Uh, Maybe in the coming times, India as a country as well will have a whole set of cryptocurrency regulations, and which will bring in more security in the minds of the people around. Also, talking about Estonia and the other countries getting an exchange. Okay, so they have got this whole entire framework all sorted, that you have. This is the process you have to follow to get an exchange license. But I still feel there has to be a much more adaptable situation around. You have got the countries have got a set of rules to follow to get to an to get to a license, basically. But still, the lack of adaptability is something which is making the entire process very difficult. Talking about my previous experiences, uh, there are a lot of people, there are a lot of requirements just to get to a final process. But since it is not something which is very much already into the play and people are not really much aware of it, there is a sense of, let's say, fear. And before getting into a process, people actually feel if it is right or if it is wrong. So yeah, what I feel is having a look at after like both the sides of the coin, I strongly feel much awareness has to be there around this particular regulations or compliances, as well as the agencies will have to be more forthcoming, right? Uh, they have to be more clear, as in this is something which you have to like ponder over, or this is something for the good of the future of everybody. Because see, this is technology, and this is not going to stay here. It will be like going ahead any which ways, even if the government is bringing any kind of regulations or not, it is going to be there in the play. So it's the best to tap it in the earliest stage and make it better so that it could be fruitful for everybody in the economy.
Understood. So I think the major point is adapting quickly, getting there before others, and making sure you're on the front foot when it comes to regulations, compliances, so that you can grow faster as compared to other countries or other exchanges or other competitors. So I think that makes total sense. So my next question to you is, xt.com has grown tremendously in the last year and over the past couple of years as well, right? So in terms of compliance also, and in terms of generic growth, how have you guys catered to making sure that you are compliant with regulators in all matters, and also growing exponentially parallelly?
Yeah, great question actually. I think because the past year has been quite a very eventful one for xt.com, and we've actually been able to scale up and grow rapidly, and we've had a lot of successful projects integrate with us and very key partnerships. So within that, we've obviously had to onboard massive user bases. So we've actually made significant strides in partnering with key compliance vendors that would allow our users and make sure that we're actually documenting from sourced IP addresses, and that's obviously important. Likewise, when we're onboarding new projects, the compliance is more stringent, and we're looking at very key auditing companies to kind of look into the smart contracts and the validity of the claims that the white papers are making, so that our users have the utmost clarity there. Obviously, there have been some it's an industry where it's fast paced, as my peer said, but at the same time, we're also making sure that we're erasing a lot of the prior mistakes in the past and doing a lot of significant strides. So, especially with our Launchpad feature, this really is a very key product for us, and it sells out our Launchpads very quickly. So that's one area where we make sure that there's no room for complacency, or no room for how you could say any efforts of kind of fraudulent behavior. So because in the launchpad you can really actually that's where you see the highest percentage of scams. So we really clamped down there and made sure that those projects are of the highest quality, and like we do with every other project that we onboard. As we're growing and growing, we're going to see more takeaways. I believe in India we're seeing some heavier aspects, and in countries like Turkey and Dubai, where it's a more of an open regulation, I do expect to see in a few months, even some updates. As I'm speaking, we in Dubai we have Vara that will be coming out in the next few months, and I believe there's going to be some clarity even regarding promotional activities that projects are handling or exchanges are doing. These are going to be much more easier and much more guidelines actually as to how to go forward, which will remove a lot of ambiguity. Because right now I think there's a lot of gray areas in the countries that are open to crypto, because they keep coming and saying yes, we're going to regulate it, we're going to regulate it, and then when the regulation does come, it's a very hard line stance. So my expectation is that it will be rolled out very smoothly, and in countries where they do have more of a tough stance, I believe within time they will also be more flexible to crypto, such as China and India. As we know, China is also coming up with their CBDC, the central bank digital currency, and I believe after that we can see some more leniency towards that, especially in terms of keeping the circulation of cash within their control in certain ways. So I think it's ever changing, and yeah, I think we have some more work to do. Obviously, our compliance, my compliance colleagues, obviously they're very busy, and we tend to keep them, yeah, even more busier in the following quarter.
Can't agree more. I think you spoke a couple of points which are very interesting. Like few countries are so open to this entire ecosystem. That a lot of people from different countries are moving to maybe likes of Singapore, Dubai, etc., and building up their bases there. And especially something like Dubai's golden visa program or Singapore's low taxation and stuff like that are really encouraging a lot of entrepreneurs to go there and set up their bases, just to make sure that they are in an ecosystem which is adaptive rather than more constant based ecosystem. So yeah, I think I agree to that point.
And
And
also
uh,
the taxation issue in Dubai, we don't really face that
absolutely,
uh, zero taxation. So
yes, yes, yes.
this is one thing that I think the regulators, if they touch it, the first thing they do is really they impose a heavy tax.
Mhm.
It's a multi-layered approach. It's either they don't really interfere, or if they do interfere, they kind of ban it as a payment level, or they will ban it, or they'll add a tax. And then the most extreme approach is just for them to completely ban it in every use case.
Right.
But that's the latter is kind of, we haven't really seen that bar China, but yeah, I think the flexibility of tax is also a key takeaway, and that's something that Dubai has. And it's as you mentioned, also the golden visa. It's these are encouraging signs, and I believe as a hub, Dubai is serving its purpose. Actually, I'm in my car now because I'm going from one event to another. We're having many crypto events as we speak, so
Right.
just
So were you at the Gitex event last week?
yeah, yeah, that was mind blowing. Actually, mind blowing. The
Uh,
amount of traffic that was there, the amount of people that came, and it is a tech conference, but it's really encouraging to see the forefront of it is things like crypto, Web3, and the metaverse. So
right.
it's showing how much of a of a position that Web3 and crypto is having in not just the our own crypto area, but in the whole tech tech world. It's actually really the place to be.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, just a follow-up question, Sohail, on this. So, obviously, a lot of frauds and financial crimes happen because of this decentralized economy, right? The addresses are sometimes rigged, sometimes tainted, and obviously, as an exchange, protection of user funds. is and their security is of utmost importance, right? So obviously you'll have like a custody provider or you'll have security practices in place. Just a highlight on how you protect user funds, in terms of making sure that they are resilient to getting tainted or rigged or stolen at any point.
Sure. So, in terms of the wider the macro statement, I'm sure you're aware of the new regulations that have come against mixes.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we've taken that on board, and we're also making sure that whenever cash is transferred from wallet, it is not coming from any wallet that has provided or have been traced to such activities in the past, and that's just to make sure that we're able to have a very good and prominent OTC function within our exchange. And user funds are being protected. We have a very high, bar when it comes to keeping our funds unhackable, and that's a very strong approach. So we're actually consistently upgrading our tech so that we're fighting our firewalls and even DDoS attacks. That is one of the biggest threats to all exchanges. We're actually working on that, and are constantly partnering with new tech vendors to make sure that we're ensuring the safety of funds for our users.
Right. So I think we have the same goal when it comes to protecting funds, right? So we also work with a lot of exchanges and DeFi's and treasuries, OTCs, as their custodians, and make sure that we are giving them an absolute uh, uh, I would say hack-proof infrastructure, so that nothing happens to the user funds at any point in time. And that's where our compliance, our tech vendors, our obviously internal tech team, and the way we have designed the entire platform to make sure it's like totally non-hackable, and making sure that users funds are protected to the T. So I think that's the end goal for everyone who's providing any kind of services to end users, and I think that should be one of their primary goals also, so as to say. So yeah, I think I'd agree. So
I also encourage people actually to download ht.com, check it out. It's a very user friendly app, and even on the web browser you could also access it. And yeah, please go for that. We're having some very good IDOs at the moment, or we can call them IEOs, and they're very good opportunities to get a good price on a good discounted a launch pad, which yeah, I would implore that.
absolutely. So moving on to the fag end. Last question for Payaswani is, Payaswani, please, what compliance norm should all the users also be mindful of before investing anywhere, like be it with in an exchange or moving their funds to their own personal wallets? What should the users do to make sure they are compliant and they are secured?
Yeah, it's a very much sought after question. Uh, Users are not really aware of a lot of things. They just get into the hype and start investing into cryptos. So what I feel is an aware investor is the best investor. So a few basic tips for an investor could be that just do not get caught up in the hype of the market. Do not just hear a news and start investing into a particular cryptocurrencies. Please take your time to study the entire technology and what's the background of that particular token or crypto or the IDO for a, for a matter. You have to understand what's really going behind behind that particular concept. You should be able to surely go through the white paper, what that product has to offer, what that particular IDO has to offer, what that particular ICO has to offer. So there are a lot of other factors as well that actually affect the prices of tokens in the market, not just the hype. So you could also be hearing about a lot of exchange hacks, or let's say which are there for price manipulations. A lot of spams are there all at the same time. So yeah, keeping these things, these basic things in mind before investing into any cryptocurrency or IDO or ICO for a matter, will always help a user to be very secure. In addition to transferring your asset from one to other, please be always sure of the wallet addresses which are there. Uh, Use good platforms to transfer your funds. I mean, just do not go after spammers. Go for legit services. That's all I can say.
Agreed, agreed. And so basically, what in your opinion then would be a must-have, when someone is building into the Web3 ecosystem in terms of compliance and regulations? Because that's, I think, where the base of any company would be, right? When it comes to building something on this kind of ecosystem.
Yeah, of course. So we have seen cryptocurrency for the past 13 years, and we've seen tremendous growth in it. We've seen how it has eventually taken the form of money, digital money. At the same time, money laundering has also shown us various facets. Various methods could be applied for money laundering. So to make a totally compliant ecosystem for compliances for cryptocurrencies, one of the basic things required is KYCs. Every system, every platform should have a collect very strong KYC norm. Every information should be properly collected, and also a very strong AML system into process, so that black could not be easily turned into white. Every previous transactions, proper KYC of the center of the money should be taken into account. Or at the same time, where is the origination of that particular uh, fund that is coming to the system? One other point could be that we have to be able to monitor the sanctioned countries, basically sanctioned users, and block all those IP addresses which are coming from those sanctioned countries or sanctioned users. We have to be very much diligent into continuously monitoring the transactions for these sanctioned parties or the countries, and overall having an effective AML and KYC policy will be able to take care of the entire thing.
Agreed. So I think source of funds, AML, KYC, and making sure you're aware of the sanctioned countries and funds moving in out of that. Maybe adding one more thing was like just addition to this would be the FATF regulations, right? Where
Yeah, of
I
course.
think would also make sense here to comply with in terms of travel rule compliances. So
The
I
travel
think that's
compliances, FATF.
right,
So those are
right,
basically for the exchanges that are based in the US. The
right.
FATF has to be like compliant in the US exchanges. But yeah, overall, if I talk about the other exchanges, the other compliances, keeping in mind the FATF, because obviously we'll be having customers, the
Yes,
users from the US,
right.
and we
Right.
are legally obligated to comply by those. And
Yes,
yeah, it will
absolutely.
be a more friendlier approach to take care of the entire thing.
Right, right. So as and when the ecosystem grows, these things will, be needed for every country because, then if it's going to be an entire global ecosystem, then all these regulations have to be kept in mind. So yeah, I think I totally agree to that. So I think our users or our listeners have got a lot of perspective on how to remain compliant, regulated in all kind of jurisdictions and ecosystems. So any last words from you guys? Sohail, maybe if you want to give some thoughts on to end the conversation.
Sure. I just want to thank you for the time, and also just encourage users to make sure that they've always, at the end of the day, um, have a very good research, because the most important thing is the safety of their own funds, and then looking into the space, making sure that they're taking all precautionary steps to avoid any fraudulent behaviors.
Absolutely. Payaswani, any last thoughts?
Yeah, as Sohail said, thank you for having us. It was amazing. And yeah, the basic thing related with cryptocurrencies is the knowledge, right? You have to get into the depth of it. You have to understand what it is all around and what it is all about. In addition to that, the countries will have to be coming forth really soon, as soon as possible, so that a stronger framework could be built around it, and the government should listen, so that the citizens are much more the citizens feel much more secure and safe to invest into this amazing ecosystem. Yeah, so yeah, that would be my take.
Yeah, agreed. So yeah, thank you guys for taking your time out from your busy schedules. As I see, Soel is driving and he's really busy and taking the call from there. So really appreciate taking your time out, Soel, from your busy schedule. And Payaswani, obviously you're swamped with a lot of things UniFarm is doing and launching in the coming months. So thank you again for taking your time out as well. So had a really good conversation and insights on how to remain crypto compliant and regulated. So I think our listeners would get a lot of insights from here. So thank you so much and have a good day. See you guys really soon. Thank you guys.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Wow, what an insightful session that was. And I'm sure our listeners must have gotten to know so much more about crypto companies and that how every exchange has to undertake so many measures to provide you a safe trading experience. It was pleasure to have you, Sohail and Payaswani, here with us, and thank you so much for sharing such valuable knowledge with us. I would also like to thank you, Samyak, for being such a nice co-host. This webinar is our attempt at spreading more knowledge and educating the masses about blockchain and crypto. If you want to talk in our upcoming episodes, please do comment and let us know. We come up with new episodes every alternate Thursday, so don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much. See you next time around.